Good evening, Purple family. Welcome to another episode of Shades of Purple, a Prince podcast. On tonight's episode, I'm going to be doing part 1 of my favorite Prince lyrics. So this is a top 10 list, but it's not going to be just my top 10 favorite lyrics and that's it, because I honestly have more than a top 10 list for these, because Prince, it's Prince and his lyrics and his wonderful wordplay that he does with so many of his lyrics. So I figured I just could not do just a top 10 only. So this is going to be another series. So this is part 1. So let's get right into it. So my number 10 is In the Beginning, God Made the Sea, and on the 7th day, He made me, from My Name is Prince off the Love Symbol album. So this song was Prince's kind of foray into the rap genre. Now he did do some rap on Diamonds and Pearls, the album before this one, with songs like Jughead and Push. And so this was another entry into Prince's version of rap and hip hop. And so of course he had Tony M, who was doing a lot of the rapping, but he also had Rosie Gaines and himself also doing some rapping as well. And so My Name is Prince is really ironic, because the next year on his birthday in 1993 is when he dropped his birth name and started going by the symbol. And speaking of his birthday, of course, we know his birthday was a couple of weeks ago. So happy belated heavenly birthday, Prince. We love you and we miss you so much. So, but going back to My Name is Prince, also in the video, if you guys have seen it, which I know most of you probably have, but we have the character of Vanessa Bartholomew, of course, played by the late Kirstie Alley. And I really like the concept of the video. He wore the chain hat, and he did like these what do you call them, burpees, like in the video, or what is that? I'm trying to think of the exercise that he was doing. Not burpees, but anyway, he was doing, that exercise where you get down and you almost like you're planking, but you pull your knees up to your chest type thing. And he was doing it really fast. Mountain climbers. Yeah, mountain climbers. I think that's what it's called. So he's doing that in the video, and, they get splashing around in the water. They got fire going in this alley. It's a lot going on. But, and also, the song is a good song, but it did not do too good on the charts. I think it only got up to like number 65, whereas the song 7, which was what Warner Brothers wanted to put out first, that was a top 10 hit. So it did way better. And Prince wanted to push this song. Because like I said, once again, I think Prince was just trying to, put his heel boot, if you will, into the hip hop and rap genre. Because in the early 90s, we had, MC Hammer, people like that. I'm trying to think of who else. Tupac, he had put out his first album, but he hadn't really blew up yet. But I'm trying to think who was big in the early 1990s other than MC Hammer. We had Vanilla Ice for a little minute, but mostly it was like MC Hammer. So, people like that, they're just kind of blowing up. And MC Hammer, speaking of him, he sampled When Doves Cry for the song Pray, if y'all didn't know that. Little trivia there for you. But okay, let's move on. So that's number 10. Number 9 lyric is, I saw your friend first. That's who I danced with all the time I was watching you. This is from Electric Chair, the song Electric Chair from the Batman soundtrack. So in many ways, and I may have said this in my review of the Batman soundtrack, I think that it's kind of an underrated album. And a lot of the songs on there are like really hidden gems. And this is one of them. And I really enjoyed his performance that he did for Saturday Night Live's 40th anniversary. If you haven't seen it, it is on YouTube. He's beautiful. I love his aesthetic where he has the long hair and like the pencil thin mustache, or just like clean shaven, or at least he looks clean shaven, but he might have like a really, really thin mustache going on. To me, that is like my favorite look, because he looks like $1 million. He looks like he's like 20, in his early 20s or something. And by this time he was in his early 30s. So, he looks great. The song is great. And he's talking about, really digging this woman, but he's got to, saw the friend, but then he saw, the lady next to her friend, and then he started dancing with the friend, and then he's still, keeping his eye on the girl that he really is trying to talk to, so he's, music shocked us, eyes locked, so, and I can see Prince doing that because Prince was a club hopper. He did like to go out to the clubs and check out the club scene. And really more so, it was almost like a reconnaissance mission for him because he was trying to see the type of music that was being played in the clubs and see, how he could, when he would start brainstorming, his ideas for his dance songs and things like that, he would probably get ideas from just listening to some of the songs that were being played in the club. And so, so he went to have a good time and, and dance or whatever, but he was also kind of doing his own research, I would say. So that's number 9. So number 8 is, I just want to be all of the things you are to me. If I was your girlfriend, off of Sign of the Times. So If I Was Your Girlfriend is supposedly about his relationship with his girlfriend at the time, Susannah Melvoin, and her relationship with her twin, Wendy Melvoin. So of course, being twin sisters, they were very close. And Prince, he may have been just a little jealous of that because he wanted, to be the center of Susannah's world. And he kind of felt like, well, if I was your girlfriend or if I was your friend that's a girl, like, would you, let me do your hair? Would you, let me make you breakfast? And, like, could we do things that, maybe girls do all the time? And so, and at the end of the song is when he says this lyric. He says, I just want to be all the things that you are to me. So he wants to be as close to her as she is for him. And I thought that was really, really sweet because I knew that, Susannah, and I've said this before, was probably his most serious relationship that he had in the 80s with any woman. And I really felt like he really loved her. He proposed to her. He wanted to marry her. And, but he just could not be faithful to her, unfortunately. But he did want to get to know her and really, really get to know her in a special way. And I think If I Was Your Girlfriend is just proof of that. So that's number 8. Number 7, Love is Too Weak to Define Just What You Mean to Me. Adore, off of Sign of the Times. Now, of course, y'all knew that I was going to have at least one lyric from this infamous song. This is another song that is supposedly about Susannah Melvoin. And so he talks about in the very beginning of the song about how, he was rapping till the sun came up. He just had to call her because of how fine she looked. And he was very much taken with her. They actually met at a Christmas party back in 1983 that Warner Brothers was having. And Susannah would let her claim that, he kind of cornered her in the bathroom and just started, kissing her. And I don't know if this was at the party, but he kind of kissed her all over her face and just said that he had been wanting to do that for a long time, and he just kind of walked off. So it was a little strange. And at the time when they first met, I believe Susannah did have a boyfriend in California, but it was a little while later she ended up breaking up with him and getting with Prince. And while this was going on, while him and Susannah were just beginning to start talking, he was of course still dealing with Vanity. And after him and Vanity broke up, and Susannah actually said this in an interview, that I think the day that Vanity left, she noticed that, Susannah was kind of hanging around, and Susannah just grabbed her cheeks and was like, oh, you again, you'll love it here. Just kind of being very sarcastic with her. And Prince was like, telling Susannah, just ignore her. But I think Vanity kind of knew that Susannah was going to be like her replacement, or maybe she didn't. But I think she definitely, for her to be like, oh, you again, meaning that, okay, she's seeing this girl more than once. And so she is kind of maybe suspecting some things. But, that's just me. And, you know how I like to gossip and conjecture. So don't mind me, y'all. So that's number 7. Moving on to number 6. Excuse me, I need a mouth like yours to help me forget the girl that just walked out my door. Let's Pretend We're Married from that 1999 album. So Let's Pretend We're Married is a really funky, sexy song. And I think it's really one of the most underrated songs on 1999. And it kind of gets lost in the fray when you have songs like Little Red Corvette and, really powerful, infamous songs like that. It can kind of get lost. But I love Let's Pretend We're Married. It's probably low key my favorite song on the album. And this song, this particular lyric just had me kind of like, when I first heard it, I was like, did he say, excuse me, I need a mouth like yours? Like, okay. He said he want to know what that mouth do. So, I can't blame him. It is what it is. Prince would often talk about, his love for oral sex. And so it's no surprise that he would have a lyric like this, but he was just bold enough to say something like this in 1982. So, but yeah, it's a great lyric and it just gets right to the point and I love it. I love it. So that's number 6. Number 5 is, of course, a very, very famous opening. And you'll probably already know as soon as I get into it. So, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Let's Go Crazy from the Purple Rain album. So this was, without a doubt, I think one of Prince's best openings in any song. It really sets the scene. He almost becomes like a preacher in a way. He, with the organs, and he's just, really stating facts. Like, we're all gathered here today to try to, get through this thing called life, get through another day, And he was speaking truth, speaking straight facts on that. But I just liked it because it was so different. And Prince, like I said, these lyrics are just so, I don't want to keep saying different, but they are. And they're very unique. And you can almost decipher a Prince lyric from I can't, I don't want to keep bringing, Michael Jackson up, but, they get compared so much, it's ridiculous. But you can tell a Prince lyric from a Michael Jackson lyric, or a Prince lyric from, somebody else, or like a Madonna lyric, or Bruce Springsteen, his other peers. You can tell, just because it sounds like something Prince would say. And, going back to, comparing him with Michael, people are, say that, Prince is, adult music, as Michael's is kind of like, kind of kiddie, kind of Disney, because he didn't really have a lot of sexual songs. And a lot of people don't know this. And a lot of MJ fans, try to deny this, but it's actually true from what I hear. Now, the song Dirty Diana was actually got its inspiration from Darling Nikki. So during when Michael Jackson was doing the Bad album, he wanted to try to have this badass persona. But of course, nobody really believed it. I remember the time I didn't believe it. But Dirty Diana was one of those songs that he put on the album to try to, perpetuate this, this bad persona that he was trying to do. And I don't know how successful he was really with that. But maybe some people, fell for it. But I know I didn't at the time. But anyway, so that's number 5. Number 4. If he poured his heart into a glass and offered it like wine, she could drink and be back in time for the morning papers. Morning Papers from the Love Symbol album. So this song was written about, supposedly, I have to say supposedly because I'm almost sure that what I'm saying is true, but just in case it's up for debate. That's why I say supposedly if you're just wondering about that. But supposedly it's about Mayte Garcia, which of course was Prince's first wife. Now during this time was when him and Mayte were getting to know each other and becoming platonic friends. And Prince might have, at this point had some feelings for her. But because she knew that, I believe that she was still underage, or she was like 17 or 18, or, maybe 18. I think she turned 18 in 1993. So I'm not sure when he wrote it, but she was probably still underage when he wrote this, no doubt. Because he said in the beginning of the song, he realized that she was new to love. And that, and that's why he had to wait. And so he was aware that, she was jailbait and off limits, and that he would have to wait for her to get older. And it's really sweet. He says, things about the moonlight on her face or the raindrops in her hair, so he was just, you could just tell that he was just really starting to fall for Mayte. And I mean, I really love this part of their relationship. It's almost like a really cute love story. And Morning Papers has a wonderful guitar solo, and it's really, I said, another understated song on the Love Symbol album. The Love Symbol had a lot of bangers on it, and I can't wait till I get to the point where I start, when I get to the review of it, because it's one of my favorite albums to listen to. Right now I'm listening to Diamonds and Pearls, which is also a great album. So be out on the lookout for a review of Diamonds and Pearls. I'll probably be doing that next week, so be on the lookout for that. But anyway, so that's number 4. So number 3, If I Could Get You in the Raw, I'd Have You Climb the Walls, from Less Work, from that Controversy album. So when I was listening to Controversy, the album, of course, several months back now, probably over a year. It's been a little while since I listened to Controversy. Or, maybe, did I listen to it? I might have listened to it earlier this year. I can't remember. But Let's Work is one of my favorite songs on the album, if not my favorite song on the album. I like Let's Work and Private Joy. Those are probably my 2 favorites. And this lyrics really stood out to me because, once again, it's one of those freaky, sexy lyrics where he's just like putting it all on the line. It's just like, look, if I could get you in the raw, which I'm assuming raw means naked. So if he's saying, if I could get you naked, I'd have you climb the walls, meaning he gonna put it on you so good, you're gonna try to get away from him. I said, okay, Prince, I feel you. Climb the walls. I was just like, okay, I just love when he, gets freaky like that and says stuff like that. It's just, I love it, and maybe because I'm a little bit of a freak too. I don't know, but I really like I love cussing Prince and I love freaky Prince. Those are the 2 Princes that I really, really like for whatever reason, but they're my favorite. So that's number 3. So number 2 is Guess I Should Have Known. By the way you parked your car sideways, it wouldn't last. From the infamous Little Red Corvette from 1999. Another banging opening to a song. Now, this song is supposedly about Mei-Ling Poo Stone. So she actually, I don't know if I had told you guys that's her, but when I did my review of the 1999 album, like last year sometime, she actually hit me up on Facebook and in Messenger and told me about, how she's getting ready to drop her book, because I mentioned in my review that she hadn't, got her book yet, but it's supposed to be coming out, she said, this year, but I hadn't seen anything, and I do follow her on Instagram and Facebook. But anyway, she kind of corrected me on some stuff that I got wrong when I was talking about her and how she was dating this. I thought it was a local boxer, but no, he was like the heavyweight champion of the world at the time, apparently. And of course, the Prince was like, didn't have a chance against trying to fight for Mei-Ling Poo for that. But not to say that he was, but she had said in her interview with Michael Dean that when her and the boxer guy were leaving after the fight, that the boxer guy said to Mei-Ling Poo, like, okay, who is that little guy? Because she had introduced him, the boxer, to Prince and Andre, who had also came to the fight. And I guess that Prince kind of looked at him like, who is this motherfucker with my woman, I guess. And so the boxer guy told Mei-Ling Poo, like, okay, who is that little guy? He looked like he wanted to, like, he wanted to go, like he wanted to, like, hit me. So that is a number 2. But let me go back to it a little bit. So Mei-Ling Poo, she did say that she felt like, Prince was kind of almost exposing her in a way, trying to make her seem like she was kind of a whorish. And she admitted that, when she was younger, she did like to have fun, and that her and Prince were just kicking it, her words. So, but supposedly this is who Little Red Corvette is supposed to be written about. And, but there's also another story that says that it's about, him kicking it with Vanity in the back of Lisa Coleman's Pink Mercury. So I don't know which story is correct. I'm more leaning toward Mei-Ling Poo and her story. but who really knows? So that's number 2. Finally, number 1 is If Anybody Asks You, You Belong to Prince from Private Joy Controversy. So this song was about yet another woman, Susan Moosey. So Susan Moosey was the inspiration for this song, Private Joy, and for When Doves Cry. So Private Joy, and I've said this before about this song, if Private Joy, I think, represents the good times in that relationship with Susan, and When Doves Cry represents kind of the ending of that relationship. But at this time, he was head over heels in love with her, and was just, like he said, my little toy, my little secret. And Susan, she was very soft spoken, very quiet, very demure. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Demure. Anyway, she was just, one of those quiet girls. And the thing was that I remember about, the quiet girls back when I was growing up, when I was younger. And I can say this because I was a quiet girl. They, I'm not saying that I was just like, out there, because I wasn't. I kept a boyfriend though. I'll tell you that much. But the quiet girls were the really freaky girls. But they kept it on the low. Nobody really knew. So I think Susan was probably a freaky girl, and Prince loved that about her, and they could just keep it between, just the two of them. And so that's what Private Joy was about. So when he said this line, if anybody asks you, you belong to Prince, he's letting us know that she is his, and that's it. You belong to me. You are my property almost. And I really do think, like I said, that they had a very close relationship. And I often wonder now how, Susan has been doing. I saw that she was on a 2-part episode on Apollonia's podcast, where they kind of had a Apollonia 6 reunion with her, Susan, and Brenda Bennett. And so I didn't really get to watch all of it, but it's been on YouTube, so check it out. Apollonia is just, I think she's like on her 2nd or 3rd season on her podcast. And she has, some of everybody in the Prince camp. She's had Jill Jones on there, Andre Simone, I believe, some other people. So check it out when you can. So let me see. Is that it? I think that's it. So those are the first in part 1 of my top 10 lyrics. So what do you guys think of my list? I might do a top 20 for part 2. I don't know. But these were the lyrics that when I listen to these songs, they stand out. And when because this list I just put just off the top of my head, just thinking about lyrics. So if y'all have got any suggestions for this series of lyrics, because there's literally thousands upon thousands of Prince lyrics, and it would take me forever to probably go through. So this particular series is probably going to be pretty long, unlike this episode, which is pretty short. Because you know me, I usually go about 30, 35, 40 minutes. But now we're only about to hit 25 minutes. So it's kind of short tonight. But I hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. And like I said, I've got a review of Diamonds and Pearls coming up. And I also am going to be reading Vanity's book and doing another Purple Kingdom episode about Vanity. So be on the lookout for that. So until then, peace and be wild, and may you live to see the dawn. Bye.